Hello everyone. Johan Videos, us, here. And today I'm going to answer a question that sounds simple but can wreck people when they ask it the wrong way. When do I sell my silver in 2026? Because if you're treating silver like a normal trade in a normal year, you're already late to what's actually happening. 2026 isn't a cycle, it's a stress test, it's a credibility test, it's a supply chain test, and the biggest mistake I see is people focusing on the exit price while ignoring the exit destination. So I'm going to give you my silver exit strategy. Not a magic number, not a tweet length opinion, but a framework you can actually use when volatility gets savage and the noise gets loud. Quick favor before we go further. My analytics still show a lot of you watch every upload and never subscribe. If you get value from this kind of straight talk, hit subscribe and drop. Johan Videos in the comments, so I know you really here. Now let's get into it. Here's the first uncomfortable truth. Most people who ask, when do I sell, are secretly asking, when do I cash out into fiat? And that has the wrong mental model if the thing you were measuring silver against is the very thing losing credibility. Think about it. Fiat is not money the way people emotionally treat it. Fiat is a policy tool. It can be expanded, it can be redefined, it can be diluted, it can be saved on paper while you lose purchasing power in real life. So if your plan is to sell real metal into a currency unit that was being quietly debased, you may be trading the lifeboat for a receipt. That's why my exit plan in 2026 is not sell silver at X dollars. My plan is I exchange silver when it buys me something better than silver. Because silver isn't the destination. Silver is the bridge. And what I want on the other side of that bridge is not paper. It's real assets. It's control. It's cash flow capability. It's stability. It's ownership I don't need permission to use. Now, I'm going to say something that sounds too simple, and that's why people miss it. If you don't know what you're selling into, you don't have an exit strategy. You have an emotional reaction. So let's define the exits properly. There are only 3 categories that matter. 1, exchange silver for productive assets when the ratio becomes absurd in your favor. Land, a business, inventory, tools, equipment, a rental property with real cash flow, energy resilience, a stable home with low or no debt. Anything that increases your long-term control. 2, exchange a portion of silver for life stability if your personal situation demands it. Emergency, health, family safety, opportunity, because I am not interested in being right on a chart while my real life gets weaker. 3, never confuse a tactical trade with your core protection. If you're skilled and you want to trade around volatility, fine, but you do it with a tactical slice, not the core. The core is the lifeboat. You don't gamble the lifeboat. That's the structure. Now let S talk about why 2026 makes this harder and why you need structure more than ever. Silver is not just an investment metal. It is industrial oxygen, solar, EVs, electronics, data centers, defense. You can't just swap it out easily at scale. And when you combine strong industrial demand with tightness and deliverable inventories, you get a market that can gap, squeeze, and punish hesitation. You've probably seen more discussion lately about COMEX inventories, especially the difference between eligible and registered, and how registered, deliverable stocks have declined sharply versus prior years. But here's the key. I'm not building my exit plan off fear. I'm building it off ratios, signals, and personal reality. So let me give you my framework, simple enough that you can remember it under pressure. First signal, system stress, not price excitement. I don't sell core silver into a system that's flashing warning lights. And you can see those warning lights most clearly in the boring corner of finance, bonds. Bond markets are supposed to be calm. When they start moving violently, it's a flare. It's the market telling you confidence is getting repriced. When policymakers are cornered by massive debt loads, the solutions tend to rhyme: cap rates, print, or change rules. All 3 are historically supportive of hard assets over time, even if the ride is nasty. That's why I treat silver as protection first and profit second. Second signal, ratio extremes, not dollar milestones. Instead of asking, is silver high? I ask, what does silver buy? Because this is the move that separates adults from tourists. If silver rips to a headline number and you sell because you're excited, you might feel smart for a week until you try to replace it later and you realize you sold the thing with scarcity for the thing with infinite supply. So I track ratios like how many ounces of silver buys a reliable vehicle in my region, how many ounces buys a down payment on a property, how many ounces buys tools or equipment that can generate income, how many ounces buys inventory for a business that turns over fast. And I wait for moments where those ratios become stupid in my favor, where assets are cheap in silver terms. That was when silver stops being a metal I hold and becomes a lever I use. Third signal, personal stability, the part the internet ignores. This is where most people either get arrogant or get trapped. If you have toxic debt, no emergency reserves, unstable income, and you are stacking silver like it's a lottery ticket, your exit strategy is backwards. Your first job is stability. Silver is not a substitute for discipline. But if your foundation is strong and you're holding silver as stored purchasing power, then you're playing the right game. You're waiting to exchange at favorable ratios, not chasing tops. Now let's answer the title directly. When I plan to sell. I plan to sell in tranches, not all at once, and only when one of these conditions hits. Condition 1, I can exchange a meaningful portion of silver into a real asset that increases long-term control. Not vibes, not it feels like the top. A real asset, a real upgrade. Condition 2, the market is offering me an extreme ratio, the kind that only shows up in transitions, not normal times. Condition 3, the exchange improves my life immediately or de-risks my future materially. And here's what I do not do. I don't dump my core stack because price went vertical and my emotions got loud. I don't sell core silver into fiat just to lock it in, then sit in cash while inflation and policy do what they do. I don't get bullied out by headlines. I don't let a red week convince me the whole thesis died. Because paper markets can whip, they can shake you, they can manufacture doubt. Physical reality doesn't care. That's why I run the 2-bucket model. Bucket 1, core protection. Untouchable unless I'm exchanging into a major asset or major life stability. Bucket 2, tactical. A smaller slice I can trade around if I want, so I never feel forced to touch the core. Now, I want to talk about silver specifically, because silver messes with people psychologically more than gold. Gold moves like a heavyweight, silver moves like a knife fight. Silver will rally when you're cautious and dump when you finally feel confident. That volatility is not a bug. It's the price of admission. Silver is a smaller market. It's more sensitive. It can be pushed around hard or short term. But that same smallness is why, in tightness events, silver can go from available to gone faster than people believe is possible. That's why my exit strategy is not designed for a perfect sell at the top. It's designed for survival and advantage during a transition. Because the real win is not bragging that you sold at the exact peak. The real win is exchanging metal into ownership when everyone else is trapped in paper and timing. Now I'm going to give you a simple checklist you can actually follow, especially when things get emotional. 1. Never sell everything at once. If you ever exchange, do it in tranches. Small decisions. Repeatable decisions. No hero moves. 2. Don't confuse profit with progress. Profit is a number. Progress is increased control. Less debt, more cash flow, more resilience, more options. 3. Don't ignore friction. Premiums, spreads, taxes, delays, availability, all of it matters. A paper price quote isn't the same thing as acquiring physical metal or acquiring real assets. 4. Stop measuring your stack in fiat terms only. Measure it in ounces first. Fiat is the scoreboard of a stressed system. Ounces are what you own. Now let me make this even more concrete with examples. Not to tell you what to do, but so you see how this plays out. If silver runs, and at the same time property prices start cracking in silver terms, that S when I pay attention. Not because property is crashing, but because the exchange rate is shifting. If silver runs and businesses start coming for sale because credit is tight and owners need liquidity, that DES when I pay attention. Because silver doesn't just preserve purchasing power, it gives you dry powder when cash is getting punished. If silver runs and productive assets become discounted because that people are forced sellers, that S when silver becomes a weapon of opportunity. And that's why my exit strategy is patient and ratio-based. Now, I know some of you want a straight number. You want me to say, I sell at S. Here's why I won't do that. Because a number without context is a trap. A $150 silver price means nothing without knowing what $150 buys in that moment. If $150 silver shows up in a world where food and energy and housing have repriced higher, you didn't win just because the chart went up. You only win if your purchasing power improved relative to real assets. So I'm not watching one chart. I'm watching the exchange rates between silver and the things that matter. That's the strategy. And now I want to bring you into the conversation, because this is the part that makes the community useful. 2 questions. Answer them in the comments. First, when you think about selling silver, do you think in price targets or do you think in what silver can buy? Be honest. Second, if silver gives you a historic exchange opportunity, what would you exchange into first? Land, a home, a business, tools, inventory, something else? And if you've had any financial win, paying off debt, building emergency reserves, a disciplined move, share it. This comment section should be useful, not noise. Now, quick reminder, if you want tighter updates and more frequent analysis, check the description for the WhatsApp channel and membership option. Those help you stay early instead of reacting late. Let me close with the main point, because this is what I want burned into your brain. In a monetary transition, the biggest mistake isn't buying too late. It's selling real money too early and swapping it back into paper claims right before paper claims get repriced. Silver is not just a trade, it's optionality, it's stored purchasing power, it's a bridge. So my 2026 exit strategy is simple. I don't sell into paper because I'm excited. I exchange into real assets when ratios become extreme. I do it in tranches, not hero moves. And I protect the core stack like it's a lifeboat, because that is what it is. If you want to follow up where I break down specific ratios to track, like home to silver in different regions, business valuations in silver terms, or how to structure tranches without getting emotional, tell me in the comments and I poll. I'll build the next script around exactly what you need. Subscribe if you haven't. Drop Johan videos below. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I'll see you in the next one.